This is TWiT.
This episode of Tech Break is brought to you by ACI Learning. 94% of CIOs and CISOs agree that attracting and retaining talent is increasingly critical to their roles. ACI Learning empowers your team to thrive while investing in the security of your business. Fill out the form at go.acilearning.com/twit for information on a free 2-week trial for your team.
All right. So, yes, in typical Google fashion, we have heard about a upcoming sunsetting, potentially a cancellation, a killing, an ending, a shuttering. There are a number of verbs we could use to describe Google's plans with its AR, mixed reality, VR, hardware. Joining us today to talk about what's going on is Hugh Langley, who, writing for Business Insider, has an inside look at what may have happened to Google's Iris. Welcome to the show, Hugh.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So I think it's important that we start with the basics. I was hoping you could first tell us about Google's Iris smart glasses. Before this most recent news about the cancellation, what had Google planned to offer leading up to this point, and how did that project compare to the now infamous Google Glass?
Yeah, so Project Iris is a kind of code name for a series of devices they were working on, but fundamentally all the same idea that they would be smart glasses. And to your point about Google Glass, I think Google Glass, we all agree, looked a little bit weird. It didn't look like actual glasses. And what they wanted to do was kind of create something that looked a bit more like a regular pair of spectacles. So Iris was the plan to do that. It was going to be using augmented reality technology. So you would see projections on the glass. The project itself ran through various iterations. They took several attempts at building a kind of pair of smart glasses, and it didn't work out. And not too long ago, they decided to shelve it for the time being, at least.
Now, when you say they decided to shelve it, it's my understanding that Insider, that you sort of have more knowledge about this, because I pointing out just yesterday, or maybe it was even this morning, I saw a bunch of different articles talking about this, but you at least have sources familiar with the matter, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So I know certain people inside the company, some who are still there and some who have left, who were close to the project. It's been running for, maybe more than a year now. They've been working on Iris from sort of late 2021, maybe, to sort of early 2022. It started really getting off the ground. They shored up a lot of talent. They acquired a Canadian startup named North. They made a pair of smart glasses themselves called the Focals. I don't know, you guys may have used them. They created a little bit of buzz at the time, and Google bought them effectively to shore up these AR efforts. And another AR company as well called Raxium. So they really kind of they got pretty serious about this for a while at least. Yeah. And they took several, like I said, the project itself went through several iterations. Ultimately, the technology was just proving too difficult for them to make something out of. They wanted to turn this into a consumer product, but it was just too difficult. They took too many pivots, and then they just decided to kill it.
Yeah, so you're kind of describing there my next question, which I'm kind of curious what, as far as you know, led to the cancellation of the project. And I know some people are out there, they're going to be wondering, did Google's decision to kill Iris have anything to do with Apple's newly announced Apple Vision Pro headset? Because we saw Facebook, or Meta, preemptively announce its next headset right before Apple went on stage and announced theirs. So you see in this space in particular, a lot of companies reacting to the news of this new sort of ultra premium headset. Why is Google getting out of the game? And does any of it, in your opinion, or from what you've learned, have anything to do with that Vision Pro?
Yeah, so inevitably, all companies looking to what Apple's doing. There was certainly fear inside Google for the last year or longer even that, Apple's cooking something up really good. They so there's another product that Google is working on in tandem and has been working on, which it actually announced earlier this year. It's a partner product with Samsung. So Samsung's actually going to build it and Google's going to offer the software, but it's going to be a kind of, they're calling it XR goggles. And I think from what I've heard, that's going to be a little more aligned with what Apple's doing with the Vision Pro. While Iris was a pure augmented reality on a very sort of svelte pair of smart glasses, which is, that presents a lot of technological hurdles. So to answer your question about why they kind of killed it, they were really struggling with the technology for a long time. There was a lot of pivots with what it should do. I don't know if you guys remember, but last year at Google I/O, they actually showed off a pair of glasses running a translation feature in a kind of a cool demo. That was actually Iris. They didn't say it, but that was a version of Iris they were working on. So they had these really interesting ideas, but they just couldn't make it stick. I think they pivoted a couple of times after that. Then earlier this year, Clay Baver, who was leading their VR and AR efforts for many years, left the company. They did layoffs at the company. They reshuffled a bunch of teams. And then after that, I'm told it just kind of petered out.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That would lead to the cancellation for sure. Now, you did mention that Google is or was working on a ski goggle style mixed reality product. And I think originally we thought that, people who were paying attention to this thought that Google was making it internally. But now we know that this is something that is from Samsung. Did Samsung already announce this headset goggle deal, or is this still kind of something that's under wraps, but people are just aware of?
Google and Samsung did a press conference earlier this year, I think right at the start of February, if I remember correctly. And they announced this partnership that they were working on this product, but they really didn't reveal very much. They talked a little bit more about it at I/O, but it's pretty under wraps right now. In terms of what was happening in Google, there was a kind of prototyping project that's been going on for a long time, maybe a year or a bit longer than that, that became the kind of foundation of what this was. But ultimately, Google made the decision that its strength was in software, and it felt like making a software play was smarter. So in terms of the Samsung headset, Google will be providing an Android kind of software experience to that. Samsung will be building the headset itself, and I believe Qualcomm is providing the chips. So that's kind of what to tie this to the Iris stuff as well. This is kind of Google's, when they kind of killed Iris, the change in thinking was we need to be a software player in this. Now that may change down the road, but I think, they want to be in on this game. No one wants to be out. You've just talked about what Apple's doing. This is, Meta are reportedly working on, they've got other headsets, but also glasses. No one wants to be left out here. So Google needs to play in it. And I think they see themselves as being a kind of Android for AR, XR, is a smarter play, at least for now. And then we'll see what happens.
So that almost falls in line with what Google does at this moment, where any company can make the hardware and sort of make use of the Android platform. Given that understanding, do you have any insight into if it will look like the Android marketplace looks now, in terms of, if I'm Samsung, I'm running Android on my device, but I'm adding all of these customizations. And if I'm, one of the other players, OnePlus, then I'm, running I think they're Oxygen OS or whatever. Any insight into if it's going to be like a pure mixed reality Android experience on these third-party hardware platforms, or if it's going to be kind of, because I think of what Microsoft does with Windows, where, there's lots of different hardware, but they're all running Windows 10, Windows, whatever it happens to be at this point. More like that, or how things are as it stands?
Yeah, it's early days and it's hard to say. Google itself has not said much either publicly. What I do know from chatting to people at the company is this isn't just Samsung they're interested. They are making a play to be a platform provider for anyone who will be a partner to them. So similar to Android, right? So they made this big splashy announcement with Samsung. That makes sense. Samsung's obviously a legacy partner for Google. They have history even in the VR space as well. I think it's hard to say, but I will say I know that Google wants this to be a platform that anyone can kind of jump on board with. And that's the one they're working on at the moment for these XR goggles as well, which I reported in the story this week, that they are still working on a sort of more lightweight version of that for companies that want to build something more like Iris, something more like those kind of slimmer down glasses. So they're trying to really hedge their bets a little bit. It's hard to say how this market's going to play out. We do know Apple is also working on AR glasses that were more like Iris. They are, according to some great reporting from Bloomberg, struggling with the technology there as well. It's very hard to get this technology shrunk down. We also know from some information, from reporting from the information, that Meta is also very kind of deep into work on these glasses as well, and may even seed a version of these to developers as soon as next year. So there's this. There's the mixed reality experience, which we saw Apple kind of come out the gate with. Very compelling idea. But there's also a belief among the companies still that there will be a desire for something that's maybe a bit more lightweight, maybe a bit more pure augmented reality. So Google is, as far as last I heard, sort of playing to both of those at the moment.
Yeah, and then I guess the last question is, did they put Iris and the hardware prototypes into the incinerator, or it's gone forever, or is it stashed away in a sort of, I don't know, a nitrogen vault somewhere where it essentially what I'm asking is, could we see the return of this Iris hardware somewhere down the line based on, your understanding of how done this project is?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There is a vault of sorts. I'm not sure if nitrogen's involved, but it's certainly Google is known to kind of shelve things and put them on ice. There's absolutely a chance Iris could come back. And what I do know from speaking to people inside the company is some teams were reshuffled into other parts of their hardware division and are still exploring AR technologies. So, from the ashes of Iris could come another Iris or something similar. They certainly, like I said previously, they know this is a space that is heating up. So Iris is toast. But I do think, they still got some of the best brains, in this area, in the AR, XR, VR space, whatever you want to call it. So if they can hold on to that talent, then who knows? So I wouldn't say it's done. Google could resurrect this idea down the line, but I think for now they just see themselves as being the platform rather than the headset maker at this stage, at least for the glasses.
Yeah. Honestly, now I just want to plan a heist to get Google Reader out of the vault. So I'm working on that. But no, thank you so much for your time today. Of course, folks should head over to businessinsider.com to read this excellent reporting. But if folks want to follow you online and make sure they're staying up with what you've got, is there a place or a few places they should go to do that?
Yeah, best place is probably follow me on Twitter, just at Hugh Langley, or one word, pretty easy. That's probably the place you'll see me share most of my stories.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, guys.